Hey Beavers, Chris.
And Phil here.
How much greater in size would your brain grow after attending Beaverton High School for 4 years? As it turns out, the brain grows an average size of 124 grams on average after 4 years of education at BHS. Coincidentally, this turns out to be the same mass as a baseball. Now many people at BHS like to play baseball, but Phil here and myself do not. So how do we tell our past apart from each other? How do I know your story is different from mine?
Beginning to look at one's past, we must begin by asking one question. What was the hardest class that challenged you, and why? The hardest class for me was engineering, because apparently Mr. Webb didn't plagiarize code.
As for me, health classes have been a crippling challenge in my prepubescent years due to the sheer amount of awkward silences following discussions of sexual education. Personally, I prefer the AP classes I took over my years in health.
What was my hardest class at Beaverton High School? It was algebra because I don't like math and it's hard.
There are many challenges in BHS, that's for sure. But there are also enjoyable classes. But what is enjoyable?
I liked history because Civil War, World War I, World War II, Revolutionary War.
Personally, I enjoyed AP Lit because it challenged my writing abilities and my analytical abilities.
I really enjoyed pre-calc because it was just so easy. Say we find a way to rewind time, to accommodate things into our favor. What classes would we rewind back to? And how would we know that it would be worth it? I would go back to freshman year so that I could take one, Health 1, and not have a credit deficiency before I graduate.
I would retake physics. Mr. Buckingham, more like a physics teacher, right?
If I could retake any class, I would retake health classes to make up for my credit deficiency and so I can graduate. While we can't rewind time, it is always moving forward. We are all traveling into the future, slowly but surely, like dummy time travelers. But who will you be tomorrow? Tomorrow week, tomorrow year, or even tomorrow decade? What is your future you? What vision do you have for yourself?
My future you, but wouldn't that be you? So not me. So I don't know who my future you is if that's not me because it's you.
I see my future self becoming a doctor, but willing to sacrifice my own time, my own life in order to help those in need. I believe that everybody deserves a chance in the world. And in order to do that, I need to put my own work ethic into school and study.
I see myself doing something with data science, perhaps a little programming, something of that nature, but I'm not really sure. The future could take us anywhere.
2 short term, 2 long term, 1 short term. I'm trying to go to home right now. I'm hungry. Yes, loud. 2? God damn. I school this Monday. Long term, college. Yep. To be honest, job. Yep.
My first short-term goal, to graduate high school. Short-term goal number 2, to get a job this summer. Now, what are my long-term goals? My first long-term goal is to graduate college. Now, my second long-term goal is to get a job after college.
My first short-term goal is to study pre-med. My second short-term goal is to get into pre-med. My first long-term goal is to study medical school. My second long-term goal is to get into medical school. Memories are a way in which we are able to recall the past, enjoy what has already happened. Although we can't peer into our past, I remember the time Mr. Reed tied 2 children to a chair in middle school. We can look back at our experience at BHS. What did you enjoy over the last 4 years? What could you have done differently?
Most enjoyable experience in the past 4 years has to be eating the pizza at the cafeteria. The crust, it was cardboard-like in its nature, floppy yet somehow stiff. It was amazing. The pizza was one of the greatest things I've ever done in high school. Now, what would I have done differently? Perhaps I would have eaten more of that pizza. It was just so good, and the crust was really not bad.
Probably the most enjoyable thing about Beaverton High School is the undercooked chicken that's served every single time lunch is served. Usually at home, I get really well-cooked chicken. So going to Beaverton High School and experiencing what uncooked chicken tastes like really gives me a sense of the primordial feels of what cavemen had to endure with disease, bacteria. It's a really wholesome experience, and I think everybody should try it.
What would you have done differently?
What would I have done differently? Probably not eaten the raw chicken because it gave me salmonella.
What did I enjoy at BHS? I enjoyed the burgers at the cafeteria, of course. Ain't nothing better than going to the cafeteria, getting a burger, and then biting into a piece of cardboard. Those slices of meat were about as thick as a slice of ham. Not to mention the amazing bun that dehydrated my entire mouth at once the second I bit into it. What would I have done differently? Never eat at the cafeteria.
While it may seem that BHS would be an atrocity for newcomers, it will be. So, it shows in studies that the more AP classes you have attended, the worse your experience will be emotionally and mentally. What advice would you give to the new class at Beaverton High School?
What advice would I give a freshman? Probably don't make any friends, because the more friends you have, the less time you can spend on schoolwork and the worse your grades get. So don't make any friends, don't socialize with anybody. That's it. Second piece of advice, don't eat at the cafeteria. Food's bad, not healthy for you. Bring your own packed lunch. You know, that's it. Probably a third piece of advice I'd give to people would probably be during recess, don't play basketball because all the tall kids they hog the court. Don't play basketball with tall people.
Some advice I would have for the incoming class, I'd say have an open mind and be willing to work hard. Make sure that you make friends with the teachers and the students alike, so you have a good experience at BHS.
Some advice that I give to the incoming freshmen next year. First of all, when you're making your senior project, don't ever make a video. You're going to want to stick to the slideshow, because if you make a video, you're going to be out in the middle of a forest at 10 p.m., recording with friends who have phones that have batteries that are already dying. We're going to be stuck here in the middle of the night in complete darkness. Second of all, you're going to want to eat some of the cafeteria food, because that stuff is delicious. It's free, it can be cheap too, and it tastes really good.
While it is true that BHS offers a 4-year experience, there's no telling what will happen after that. There's no telling what will occur in the far future, not just in our lives, but in the entire span of the universe. 17 billion years, approximately 239,436,619 lifetimes. There was a lot of time to be used up in the universe, so there really is no rush to reach your end goal. What will you do when the time comes? How will you form your future? Some may get a full ride to college, and some may suffer, but we're all in the ride for our lives. How will you shape your future you? And as always, thanks for watching.